Hey, man.
It's ridiculous and stupid, so...
Rough. Okay, bro, let's fucking talk about, it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, man, I've had bouts with, I had a concussion. You knew that. I've talked to you since then.
Well, the last time we talked, you were like, I hit my head. I may have a concussion.
Oh, well, so...
And you...
It proved to be true. And the next thing that happened was I almost gently bonked my head on a ceiling in an attic room I was working on. And it all came back. The worst of it. Headache, dizziness,
it all came back,
neck
all
ache.
of the memories?
Not the memories, the physical stuff. The memory was so quick. But as a result of that, I couldn't lift my head up off the pillow because my neck hurt so bad.
Oof.
So then I took it easy, and then I felt good and went back to work, bumped my head again, and the same thing happened. And I had to lay down hour and a half, got up, couldn't use a power tool because I was a power saw because I was too out of it.
Right.
And so then I'm getting better, but in the meantime, my family members, patient zero, who's my granddaughter, pukes and shits her pants. Seems to be maybe something she ate. 2 days later, her father poops and shit his pants. Next day, the other girl, same symptoms. Then a couple of days passed. Mama didn't feel bad. Those kids got together at our house, which was questionable to me. And then granddaughter's number 2 caught it, pissed, and then their parents got it, and they puked and shit each upwards of 40 times in a 24-hour period. They had it so bad. My wife got it.
That sounds like fun.
My wife got it. This is now going on 3 weeks. My wife got it, and I wrote my son-in-law, who was better then, and I said, I don't understand why I didn't get it. And I went out and I worked a long day. A 6-hour day for me is a long day because I thought if I'm going to get hit with this, I need to get some stuff done. And I did. I went out to eat, had a beer, smoked a bowl, and had a fish dinner, and started to watch the Buffalo Bills game. Halfway through the Buffalo Bills game, which I was a huge fan, decided to go home. I got home and felt a little wonkish. Before the end of the game, I was puking and shitting on my hands and knees.
Oh,
and that
Jesus.
went on I just felt like I was going to puke for the next 24 hours, and my diarrhea actually wasn't all that notable, but I was out. I slept. I was out. And then I got better,
it's always fun
and then I got sick again.
It's always fun when it comes out from both ends.
Yeah,
it's like,
I ate. I felt better. 2 days later, I said, I ate a piece of chicken, and then I ate something else, and the something else I ate with a piece of pizza. And it had anchovies on it, and then I got sick again. And I thought, boy, back to oatmeal, because I did oatmeal and applesauce and all the right stuff, for 2 days. I went back to that, then I finally got better. And all in all, it was 2.5, 3 weeks of, one thing after another. I mean, there's nothing more uncomfortable than only having one toilet bowl and knowing that you got both ends coming.
Yeah, I'm blessed with my bathrooms have the toilet and the sink right next to each other. So it's possible to sit on one and
puke in the other.
Puke into the other.
Well, I had a trash can handy, so I lucked out. But I'll tell you what, Never in my life was fish a worse choice.
And so...
And the Bills lost.
Oh.
And then they fired their coach.
So
And then I watched his wife in Sinners and couldn't believe her filthy mouth.
How do you feel like... how long are you going to hold this grudge against fish? No, because everyone has experienced this thing where I ate a food, and then I felt like shit.
Well,
and
it won't be generalized
the food.
to fish, but baked salmon could take a while, but not fish in general.
Yeah.
Deep fried catfish. I'm ready for that perch. Walleye.
Because I went for a decade against fish and chips. Because I had one episode that maybe, like, blame wise I can't really
confirm, I did the deal with raw oysters where I was down in Florida.
That's a
the
thing
university,
that's easy to...
And I had found in my travels alone, because I was working a contract down there in the capital, and I found, as I do, a dive that I liked a lot, right on the water, right on a river, and they sold drinks, right on the dock, and they had raw oysters, and oysters of all kinds and seafood. And I found the place and went with a buddy. Took a buddy later. I said, "You're gonna love this place." And I remember in hindsight, in horror, that one of the oysters dropped off my plate and landed in the plastic tray that they put the plates on. And as it turns out, that was rich with salmonella. And I got so sick that the next day I had a presentation, and my buddy who was with me, who didn't eat a bad oyster, he was not a presenter. He was an observer. He was a trainee, but he's whip smart. And I told him, it's going to happen periodically throughout the 3 hours here, that I'm just going to walk out and introduce you, and wherever I am, you got to pick up, because there won't be any time for a handoff.
Right.
I did it 2 or 3 times, and it worked out well. And I was sick as a dog, and made it to the toilet every time. But then I had to board an airplane, and I was so inwardly sucking up for the entire flight that when I got off the flight, I hoped for no bumps, and I got in line still sucking up and made it to a toilet where, I swear to God, I hit the center of the toilet from 3 feet away with the door open. And it was a clean getaway.
Marksmanship.
And then that was a so-called layover. So I had to get back on and do it again. So
hold on. I think Layover Marksmanship is our title.
Layover Marksmanship, yes. Good Lord.
You fucking nailed it from afar.
From afar.
You've discussed previous airline
catastrophes,
fecal issues before.
Pre-boarding. Pulling the suitcase out of the trunk, and that made me shit my pants. I remember that it passed somehow from my asshole through my underwear, didn't touch my pant leg, and landed on my shoe. And I actually took that as a good sign. That
means there is a God.
There is a God, and he wears baggy pants. I mean, that's all I can tell you. And it was a light green summer suit.
Fuck, that's even a better title. Fuck off.
A light green summer suit. But this toilet stuff is nauseous. Nobody wants to hear it. In fact, I tell these stories, and I do it without glee, because it's horrific. You know, when this shit is happening to you, pun intended. So let me give you. There's a weather update.
I have so much shit to talk about, and then we have the fucking politics desk, and
Yeah,
also I've seen so many movies.
Let's talk about Sinners a minute, because you had written me and said that it's rare that you cry simply at a movie over cinematography, and in this case you did, and you described a scene in the movie, and so I said, well, I'm compelled now.
Have you seen it?
I hadn't realized when I first read that it was a movie that I saw up on my screen as a choice several times, passed it up every time,
Yes.
and the Academy Awards that it received, which was 16 nominations,
Yes.
alerted me, and then you alerted me, and then I said, oh yeah, I can see this anytime I want. And so I watched it the other day, and I did know in a little bit about this, because quarterback for the Bills, Josh Allen, his wife is in this movie, and I recall these NFL-related quotes when he had won a game and he was doing a press conference, and reporters got lax with him and whatever. And they said, well, "What do you think about your wife's new movie?" And he said, "Well, I'm thrilled for her. It's going to be popular, this and that." Well, and it ends up getting 16 nods. But she plays this woman, as you know, who's a mulatto, a white-looking woman with mixed race parentage, and nonetheless, as light-skinned as she is, she gets into this speakeasy, which is all black only, and the way that she talks is so vulgar and so just about fucking me and calling her, what are you afraid of this pussy and this and that. And I thought, Josh, were you really thrilled? And then she rips the guy's neck out and whatnot, and she's all bloody. So I had a bit of a disconnect with the movie almost from the get-go,
because you recognized her?
No, not. I liked her in that. There was when it got into the dialogue about vampires.
No. Okay.
It
Yes.
got real cheesy, real predictable, real cheesy, and it set me off a bit, I guess, in hindsight. I wish I would have enjoyed it. And I want to talk about the scene that you found so emotional.
Okay, so as I specified to you, the first half of the movie is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, and
Yes, and then the second half just...
and then the second half went all vampire, which I disliked, but my final take was the very final scene is kind of enough of a payoff to having sit through all of the vampire shit. I dislike zombie and vampire stuff, but the first part of the movie was so gorgeous and so just a lovely view. And the first, I watched the first little bit first without really understanding anything about it, and then I learned more about it, and then I watched it all the way through, and I honestly did not notice that it was the same actor playing each of the twins.
Until when?
On my first viewing of the first 15 minutes or whatever, and then
I didn't know it either until
and I need to go back
he died.
and watch this.
Until he about died. That's how long it took me.
So
and part of the challenge was too, and this is a kind of a wrap on a lot of movies, and I'm surprised in this particular movie that it was an issue. But the lighting, when you're shooting dark black faces in nighttime surroundings, or even in daylight surroundings, is a real challenge because it's got to be bright enough to be able to see somebody's features. And white actors don't have to worry about this, but black actors do, and it's notable, and has been noted, and has been a thing, and with a call for greater effort to cinematographically to solve this problem. And so, in hindsight, the beginnings of the movie and the partnership, they dressed very differently. They had different kinds of facial hair, if I recall.
And very different hats, which was very important.
One of them had a hat, one of them didn't.
No, they both had different. They both had hats, different hats.
Well, then one of them had his hat pulled back so you could see his face, and one didn't. But that shadow from that hat, out of a goatee, a bearded. But there is dialogue in the beginning where the guy, the KKK guy who sells them the barn, says, "What are you guys, twins?" He says that to them.
Yeah.
So at that point, one would think, but I only remember that in hindsight as well. That did not alert me to the fact that they were twins. I thought the guy was alluding to the fact that all black people look alike, kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
You know,
but once you know that it's the same actor, the scenes where they're passing a cigarette between each other, is like, okay, wow, that's kind of impressive. But like yes, we know how to do that now. Like we've modern Hollywood tech knows how to do that. But it was.
So I gotta say, I enjoyed it, and there wasn't a moment that I didn't want to absolutely finish it and see where it went. And the stuff I'm going to see it again because I realized when the Buddy Guy shit happened,
at the very end,
the beginning parts of it, particularly the dance scene, which is what I believe brought you to tears.
Yes.
At the speakeasy, when the dance went through hundreds of years of different types of music and different cultural kinds, and that's the scene you're talking about, right?
How fucking gorgeous is that? And like,
so that,
but like, and
very strange.
How do you even conjure the idea to make that a scene? Because they start from the very, very, very beginning, where they are telling you, look, there are like throughout history there have been people that have been able to speak to these deeper stuff. Like they start the movie with that, and then they sort of show like, oh wow, like here we are doing these dances that are conjuring the essence of what it is to be human, which to be honest, like when you're properly in the mode of dancing, you feel like you disappear and you are just in this humanity slurry of what is like real.
Well, it's one of the reasons I'm gonna watch it again, because there was my jaw was hanging open through that scene, and then all the way through the end with Buddy Guy. So I was participating in that movie in a way which I know is preliminary.
Wow.
And now that I understand it, and understand that it is the quirky of quirky, and that is a strange tale that's really about music and blues more than anything else, and has the
music and
has
blues,
the
which is your love language.
yes, and sell your soul to the devil to be able to play the blues.
Yeah,
And Robert Johnson, and you know. And,
yeah, but that is who you are. That is your soul. You,
well,
Dennis.
That is what I've learned and become part of in a way which is participatory rather than even more observed, I should say, rather than participatory, because unlike the soldiers of the blues and the stuff they did and their deaths at early ages and their honky-tonk ways and their that whole impoverished genesis of everything we know in today's music world,
Right.
in the modern music world, and it actually has sparked in me something that I want to get back to, which is because I've been in this band that's now playing in other things, you know, very like ZZ Top, LaGrange, and Tush, and you know.
Yes, but
all that
I
stuff.
would.
Some blues. I want to get back to the blues.
Yes, I would submit to you that there's something about the blues that moves your soul in a way that
Yes.
that you can recognize and like freaking wow that's
So I'm going to mention a tune to you. Just recall it. You're familiar with Crossroads,
yeah.
which I believe is a Robert Johnson song made famous by Eric Clapton and others. There is a version of it that my new Guitar Hero
You mentioned
Slash,
this last time that it was
I did.
the Slash version, and I put a link to it in the show notes
Oh,
for
did
the
you?
last episode.
So what?
did.
So case in point, though, is he pays a tribute to the
Yeah.
blues by doing something nobody else who I've ever heard play that tune does, which is take it down into, after a bridge, take it down into the blues pace, the blues, the original blues tune of it. And I've asked our lead guitarist, who's of course thought it was a grand idea for me to play harp to that, which Slash's band doesn't do it. Slash band doesn't
Right.
have a harp player. So I'm looking forward to playing that out a little bit. And I will tell you a little bit of other Mojo news that you'll find interesting, is that I may have said to you before, and if not, here it is, that when I hear recordings of us playing live, I'm generally disappointed in the fact that when I go to play a lead with the harp, it doesn't stand out as much as I'd like it to, and it seems subdued. Well, J-Dog, the leader of the band, suggested a pedal for $178. It's got three inputs, or three recording capabilities, three sound adjustment capabilities, three buttons, and a pedal.
Yeah.
And one of them is the B pedal, as it turns out, is solo harp. And solo harp comes in a clarity and a clarity to begin with, which is different. and when I press the pedal, it goes from background level volume to lead level.
Nice.
And it's a motherfucking game changer.
Nice.
And so tonight, after this thing we're doing, I'm going to his place to program pedal A and pedal C. Pedal C, which is a Jew's harp, which has never had the volume or the attention that it deserves.
Never, ever, ever.
Never, ever. And then A is going to be not the lead B pedal, because even lead B pedal on low is quite prominent, and it's at a level where if I'm doing a song where it's there's a bit, not a solo so much as that there's a notable part of a harp throughout. One of them is Will I Go Around in Circles by Billy Preston. But if you hear that, you would note, now that I've mentioned it, is that you hear the harp through the whole song. And then when the lead happens, it's even more so. But that's the B pedal.
Okay.
A pedal needs to be, it's really not to be particularly notable, it's really background. And so that's a new development that I think is going to be a game changer, particularly for my confidence that it sounds the way I want it to.
Okay, I brought up to you over email the fact that I had seen this. You said you'd seen it years ago, but it's a 2004. It's a 2024 movie, Night Bitch.
Oh yeah.
Starring
with Amy Adams.
Amy Adams,
Yes.
and it was presented to me by my television menu choosing thing, and it was presented to me with an image of a woman that does not appear in the movie.
Yes.
I adore Amy Adams, but whoever, the model they got to pose for the card to click on was not her, so I didn't even know that it was Amy Adams when I clicked on it, and I was like, all right, we'll see what this is. And it was a fucking ride. Because this past weekend, the weather was total shit, and it was very much a stay at home and sit on the sofa and watch movies kind of weather. And so I respected what God had given me. And so I watched this, and the first part is just like the worst part of being the parent of a toddler. It was, which I experienced twice. You gotta walk around with the little kid, and the little kid's saying why is the grass green? And you're like, well, stupid. Because it is. Blah, blah, blah. And then she goes through this metamorphosis of turning into a fucking dog.
Yeah,
And
in a way which is disappointingly hidden from view. You see her actions lead. If I recall this, you see her actions leading to the metamorphosis, and then the next you see her, she is a dog. But there's no werewolf turning scene with the knuckles stretching and the hairs popping and the nostrils flaring and the snout elongating and the ears.
No, there's a moment where they're playing like horsey, where she's on all fours and the kid's on her back, and the kid says something like, "Mommy fuzzy," and she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then she goes and looks in the mirror, and like she's got some fuzz back here, but like it is. And I've said this many times. One of my favorite genres of fiction is where the protagonist slowly goes crazy, where like you're with the protagonist throughout things, and then at some point you get to a point where every step seemed reasonable, but then you realize, oh wait a minute, we're insane.
So
And
what comes to immediately to mind is the name Milo Kunis and Natalie Portman in The Swan.
yes,
Where
Black Swan.
What's it? The Black Swan.
Yes.
Where you see, similar to what you mentioned about the furry, is that the pin feathers started to come in.
Right.
And that trip into madness is so captured by the camera that you are with her
Yep.
against reality
Yeah.
because of what you witnessed she experienced, or what you experienced with her. So yeah, that's that movie, with that Amy Adams movie, The Night Bitch, I would only give it about a 6 out of 10, where I would give The Black Swan almost a 10, if not a 10.
Well, the Black Swan won a bunch of Oscars and shit.
Oh, it did.
Like,
Well, there you go.
like you're not alone. But the Night Bitch, like the final act, where it was, where she had an argument with her husband, where she was like, look, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mother, and I asked for this. And so like obviously I'm putting myself in the place of the husband, where like she's like, I asked for this, and I don't like it, and I hate this, and you've done everything I've asked you to do, but I hate this, and so we need to separate. And the whole time he's like, yeah, like I was supporting you the entire time. I was saying yes to everything that you said, and she was admitting that she had gone through all of this. And but then at the end, like, they share responsibilities and they learn to appreciate each other, and it's like,
Who's the man?
what a
in it?
fucking ride.
Who's the actor? The male actor?
Not someone really noticeable. IMDb. Yeah, it's not anyone famous.
So what was the movie I saw the other day?
I mean, so the actor's Scott McNairy, who you haven't heard of. He's been in Argo and a few other things. But like,
I would remember him from that probably. So we should venture.
it was such a. I'm just gonna put on a weird thing, and then like halfway through it, I was like, this is shit, I'm going to turn this off. And then I watched a little bit more and I was like,
Night
this is
bitch.
actually getting, this is actually getting better.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I was like, oh shit, this is like an actual like commentary on our social lives in a way that it didn't feel like it was going to be at the beginning. I don't know. It was amazing.
Yeah, there was another. So the author of the Game of Thrones and whatnot, Martin.
Yeah.
I bought these books or rented these books, got them from the library, that were foundational to Game of Thrones, and they were almost short stories or little books, and they were hundreds of years before the Game of Thrones, but it was about a hedge knight, so named because they come from the land rather than from moneyed ancestry and all that. And
I know what that means.
They finally made it into a television series called, I believe it's The Knight of the Seven Swords or something like that.
I've seen that on
And the
whatever
advertisement.
channel.
And so,
No.
when they did Game of Thrones, then they did House of Dragons, which I was not a huge fan of, unlike Game of Thrones, which I was. And so I looked at this with some skepticism. But a couple of points that I want to raise to you. Number one, there's these two scenes in the first two episodes. I'll describe one of each from each of the episodes. The first is early on when the hedge knight buries his master and ends up with his horses and vows to carry on, and takes his sword and takes his shield, and before he leaves, there's a scene where he's getting ready to leave, and the theme song from Game of Thrones comes on. And as that theme song comes on, you see the knight, you see his ass from behind a tree, just his ass is showing in his head because the tree is blocking most of his body, and squirting from his ass is obvious projectile diarrhea. And he is literally
Fun.
shitting on the theme song of Game of Thrones. And I read later about how that was purportedly a very pointed communication to the viewing audience that this is not Game of Thrones. And its grandeur is not anywhere like all that. And this is more of a simple tale about a man and his squire whose name is Egg, E-G-G, and he's called Egg probably because he's completely bald as a 10-year-old child. But I got to tell you, it's too bad it's only half-hour episodes, which means it's more like 17 minutes, between the openings and the closings, or 20 minutes. And it's enjoyable as can be, but it should be an hour. It should be an hour. But
Boy,
I mentioned that too because
I also really like the 30-minute episode series too, because they're so bite-sized and they're so.
yes.
Oh, I could watch another before I go to bed. In a way that an hour is too much to bite off.
Yes, that's if you're catching up. However, when it's in the premiere showings.
Okay. In that case, I have a bone to pick with you.
You're wanting for more.
But
it does take you back.
Well, you have HBO Max access, right?
Yep.
Have you watched The Pit?
Oh no, but it's on my. It's actually on my list because.
Oh fuck! I don't want to talk to you until you've watched the whole
Look,
first season.
I went to get a piece of paper to write it down. Look what's on the paper.
Fuck
you. See,
you.
Can you read it?
Yes. Yes.
That's hilarious.
So, Jesus Christ, that is. I mean, it won all the Emmys. Like it was the best show last year. And
What's it about? A hospital?
so, have you seen ER?
Yeah. Back in the
ER was created
George
by
Clooney.
Yes, ER was created by Michael Crichton, and it lasted for 15 years or whatever. And one of the actors on it was this guy Noah Wiley, and he has. It's basically a reboot of ER, but boy, the Michael Crichton lawyers are very upset about this because they've taken one of the, like, it's not the same character, it's the same actor that was on ER, but is now on this with a different character, and they're reproducing what it is like in the ER. But did you ever watch the TV show 24?
Yeah, I've seen one or two episodes. Kiefer Sutherland.
Yes, but you didn't watch it. Okay, so the gimmick with 24 was every episode is exactly 1 hour, and then the next episode starts like in the world that you're watching. Each episode is 1 hour in that world. And The Pit has done this exact same thing. So in the first season, it's like 15 episodes, but it's like 15 hours back to back on the same day in the ER, in this shift. And
That's what the pit's like?
yes, and it is so fucking gripping. Like, it's some of the best television around. And I'm currently, with the first season, I got into it like 8 episodes late, so I was able to binge like 8 hours of it, and then I had to wait 1 week per hour per episode.
Right.
But but now I'm watching every hour as it happens, which is one per week, and it's very, very, very good television. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I'm searching for that.
But if you have access to HBO,
I know I have it.
then
Because
don't
it came across the screen the other day as an option, and I
Yes.
said, "Oh yeah, damn."
Then
The
don't
other thing
don't
I've got that
then don't talk to me again until you've watched The Pit, because it's right there on your fucking, like, it is. Yeah, just leave it. It is. Don't watch anything else. And I have other things to suggest that you watch, but
well, so we need to visit the political desk just a minute.
fuck. I was about to say that
Because
same thing.
Things are happening now that are predictable and not at all surprising, in that the second American citizen has been murdered in cold blood by agents of the government dressed in masks and black gear and ammo gear and military gear and unnamed warrantless invasions of their home, lying to the press about what happened, even with video proof evident. And Trump is now in the worst toilet of polls he's ever been in all of the major issues. And so the midterms are all that much closer. And at this point, it's, knock on wood, all but certain that they will lose the House. And suddenly the Senate is in play.
But
This is
midterms
huge
are,
stuff.
but midterms are next, are this year, later. Or,
November of
yes.
26. They're in
Yeah.
8 months.
Yeah.
And the way that the shit works in public opinion is that 8 months isn't enough time to much change the opinion, because it's taken so long for that opinion to get here. But the problem is now is that it's going to continue to happen in the meantime. And the demonstrations, the breadth and the depth of the demonstrations, which research shows in order for demonstrations to mean something, they have to be permanent. And they are becoming permanent in the major cities. And it bespeaks then a cultural shift which would put Trump and his ilk in the toilet after the midterms. Now,
Wait.
enough. It's not enough for the Senate to go Democrat in order to achieve the dislodging of the president through impeachment. It's got to have a supermajority in the Senate. It's got to be 60 votes. It's not a simple majority. And so the prospect of being impeached in the House, perhaps again and again, and failing in the Senate, probably again and again, is not a pretty picture. Which means essentially that he'll be crippled but ruling all the way through 2028. And who knows what grim things will happen in the next 3 years. He's only been there a year.
I know. You're implying that the Congress will do something?
Congress can stop things. They can stop spending.
They can.
If the House is controlled by the Democrats, they will. It'll be their primary objective. The fact that the Senate remains the whipping post where nothing will necessarily happen, it'll be a fight from fight to finish, but to control one of the houses means that the shit that happened early on in his first year will not happen again. And that is some of the stuff that he wanted done. The big beautiful bill, for example, which is the primary document which controls the funding and the spending for the escalation of immigration policies and whatnot. It'll take a turn for the better. That's as optimistic as I can be.
I'm so pessimistic that I don't think that Congress matters anymore.
Well, Congress only matters when it matters to them. And it can't matter to them until there's a change in power, because with the power dynamic it is now, it doesn't matter. The Democrats are toothless. And so it's just a bunch of hot air. But if they control it, then they do have a substantial influence that they currently don't have. Now, in order for...
Okay. My prediction is that, yes, the disapproval rating of Trump is going to result in Congress going against the election is going to go against Trump, and that's not going to matter one fucking iota, because Congress is not doing a goddamn thing to stop any of this.
Yeah, you're failing to recognize the difference in one of the two chambers being controlled by another party. There's no argument that they're useless as they stand, because they're uniformly fucking useless. When that dynamic changes, they become less useless. That's as much as we can hope for. Less useless. But it's an improvement over totally useless.
Yeah. So you're saying Democrats, you're using Democrats and less useless in the same sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, better than before, but I don't feel like
Ain't gonna be no sea change. That's my point about 3 more years. It's just that he won't be able to do as much harm as he's done, and it depends too on
but
the.
But what harm has he done that has gone through Congress though?
Congress is well, the big beautiful bill is the predominant congressional approval.
Yeah, that was.
That's his only
Where they go, yeah.
legislative accomplishment, and it's enormous.
Okay.
It's enormous. I mean,
I don't know. I'm so pessimistic and so I kind of feel like until we get to the point where all of society just decides no, and we go on a general strike.
that's the point of the continual demonstration.
Yes, but like if everyone, I guess first of all in Minneapolis, like if everyone in Minneapolis says none of us are going to go to work, and you do just a general strike about how
that's
like
powerful.
Nothing's going to happen. I think that is a way that the people can talk to the government in a way that you have to do, because I don't know, it's pretty messed up. I don't know. I had some other movies to talk to you about, but
yeah, time's up, bro. I gotta go. I got an appointment. Oh, hey, hang on a second. I gotta show you something.
Okay.
And you'll hear it too.
I'll hear it. He took his headphones off, but we're gonna hear it no matter what. Oh, Jesus. An accordion. Lovely.
Antique, baby.
Alrighty.
I gotta learn how to play it. And the song the song I'm gonna learn to play it to is my actual song in my head when I bought it, when I saw it, by the band. Oh, the streets of Rome are full of rubble. Da, 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 da. I've sang that song. But I got to go, Bill. I'll see you next week. Peace. Out.
Let's see you next week. Take care of your head.
Bam.
Okay, that does it for episode number 271. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/271, where you can find links to some of the movies and stuff that we talked about, and just general information about our podcast. You can help support the show at patreon.com/happyhour, which we would love for you to help us. See you next week, we hope.